Hey there, welcome to Quiz Time. I'm your quiz master, Sean, and I've got 100 questions for you. General knowledge, science, mathematics, current events, entertainment, all kinds of things. So let's strap in our brains and let's have a little fun, shall we? And let's start with question number 1. Of course. Queen Victoria started which tradition at weddings? Wearing a white dress, having bridesmaids, or carrying flowers? She started wearing a white dress. So they all do. What country has only won medals during Winter Olympics but never the Summer Olympics? Finland, Liechtenstein, or Micronesia? And that country would be Liechtenstein. What famous 1920s actor's remains were stolen from his grave and held for ransom? Charlie Chaplin, Humphrey Bogart, or James Stewart? Oh, let's see. That was Charlie Chaplin. That's weird. Oishima Island has 9 human residents and over 200 cats. Where is this island? Is it in Hawaii? Is it in Japan? Or is it part of the Philippines? You'll find that in Japan. Which author's first draft of his novel, Of Mice and Men, was eaten by his dog? F. Scott Fitzgerald, Ernest Hemingway, or John Steinbeck? Of Mice and Men was by John Steinbeck. Why were tetanus shots first invented in 1924? Due to wounds during World War I, increases in animal bites, or the increase in drug use? Tetanus shots were as a result of wounds during World War I. The 1980s trend swatches originated in which country? Sweden, Switzerland, or Spain? Swatches originated in Switzerland. True or false? Lizzie Borden was never convicted of the axe murders of her father and stepmother in the state of Massachusetts in 1892. True or false? That would be true. Never convicted. The game mahjong was invented in China in the mid-1800s. What does the word mahjong mean? Game, tiles, or sparrow? It means sparrow. Where did President John F. Kennedy attend college? Did he go to Princeton? Was he a Harvard man? Or did he go to Boston College? President John F. Kennedy is an alumnus of Harvard University. In Buddhism, nirvana is achieved during death, charity work, or enlightenment. Nirvana is achieved during enlightenment. In which state was a drugstore staple the ice cream float invented? Was that in Pennsylvania, Ohio, or Montana? And that was invented in Pennsylvania. Who was the next person to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean in 1932 after Charles Lindbergh? The next one was Amelia Earhart. What ingredient was added to the original 7-Up soda recipe because it was said to be mood enhancing? cherries, opiates, or lithium? They added lithium. In 1962, the first Taco Bell menu had tostados, chili burgers, burritos, tacos, and was it nachos, empanadas, or frijoles? They had frijoles. Which main character of a cartoon children's show is from the UK? Peppa Pig, Olivia the Pig, or Arthur? That would be Peppa Pig. In 1963, the first lava lamp was created by an English engineer. What was its original name? Was it called the groove lamp, the funky light, or the astro lamp? It was the astro lamp. How long did it take Michelangelo to complete the frescoes on the Sistine Chapel ceiling? 20 days, 4 years, or 17 years? It took Michelangelo 4 years. Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys became deaf in 1 year as a child due to, was it a child hitting him with a lead pipe? Was it an autoimmune disease? Or was it an explosive noise? It was due to a child hitting him with a lead pipe. What 1986 nuclear power plant malfunctioned during a test and exploded, leaving the area dangerous with radiation? Hiroshima, Chernobyl, or 3 Mile Island? That would be Chernobyl. Which American football team has never hosted nor won a Super Bowl? The Arizona Cardinals, the Miami Dolphins, or the Cleveland Browns? The Cleveland Browns have never hosted nor won a Super Bowl. Which Golden Age Hollywood star was born Roy Scherer in Illinois and went on to complete almost 70 films? Was that Cary Grant, Rock Hudson, or John Wayne? Roy Scherer went by the name Rock Hudson. The Mayan Empire is now part of which present-day South American country? Guatemala, Paraguay, or Trinidad? The Mayan Empire is now part of today's Guatemala. What book series is Nancy Drew the female counterpart of? The Boxcar Children, Sherlock Holmes, or the Hardy Boys? And that would be the Hardy Boys. Insulin treatments for diabetes were successfully tested by surgeons on what animal in 1921? Rabbits, mice, or dogs? They were successfully tested on dogs first. In 1962, an Australian woman first created a fanny pack based on what animal? Did she base it on koalas, kangaroos, or sloths? She based them on kangaroos. What American serial killer abused a teenage boy and, while on probation for the assault, murdered the boy's brother? Jeffrey Dahmer, David Berkowitz, or Dennis Rader? And that was Jeffrey Dahmer. What stuffed animals became popular in the 1990s and were known for having poems on the tag? Beanie Babies, Webkins, or Cabbage Patch dolls? And those were Beanie Babies. What French term is used when describing that the government is not involved with the economy? Comme ci, comme ça, carpe diem, or laissez-faire? And that would be laissez-faire. What is the world's largest religion? Is it Islam, Christianity, or Hinduism? Of the three, the most practiced religion is Christianity. During the late 1700s, who would request his chef for mac and cheese, making it the first time the dish was in the U.S.? Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, or Benjamin Franklin? And that would be Thomas Jefferson. Though waterbeds became popular in the 1980s, when were they originally invented? 1925, 1833, or 1567? It was 1833. What animal would Russians put in their milk because they believed it prevented it from going sour? Spiders, frogs, or snakes? Neither one sounds like a good option, does it? But they put frogs in their milk. In the 1960s, which actor played Batman in the ABC television series? Robert Lowry, Lewis Wilson, or Adam West? And that would be Adam West. The modern-day peace sign symbol was created in 1958 as a campaign for, was it anti-Vietnam War messages, nuclear disarmament, or the Red Scare? And that was for nuclear disarmament. Modernist artist Georgia O'Keeffe was known for her paintings of: did she paint flowers, children, or oceans? Georgia O'Keeffe painted beautiful flowers. Which Billy Joel hit song is seen as an educational history lesson? Piano Man, Vienna, or We Didn't Start the Fire? Which of those songs is a Billy Joel history lesson put to music? We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. Which journalist during the 1960s and 1970s was called the most trusted man in America? Was that Walter Cronkite, Truman Capote, or Tom Wolfe? And that's the way it is. Walter Cronkite. Who was the first baseball player on the cover of a Wheaties box in 1934? Was it Babe Ruth? Was it Lou Gehrig? Or was it Joe DiMaggio? It was Lou Gehrig. Which 1950s to 1960s actress started animal advocacy charities after her acting career? Was it Marilyn Monroe? Was it Grace Kelly? Or was it Doris Day? And that would be Doris Day. The ancient trade route that brought Far East culture further west was called, was it East to West, the Silk Road, or the Eastern Trade Introduction? And that would be the Silk Road. The four main characters in Little Women by Louisa May Alcott were Jo, Meg, Beth, and the fourth one was it Annie, was it Sue, or was it Amy? And that fourth one was Amy. Who is considered to be the first scientist? Isaac Newton, Aristotle, or Galileo Galilei? The first scientist. Well, of the three, you'd have to go with Aristotle. During the early 1900s, what type of dress silhouette was popular? The S-shaped, the A-line, or the sweetheart? And that silhouette was the S-shaped. Harold Shipman was a serial killer in Manchester from 1972 to 1998. What was his nickname? Was he the co-ed killer? Was he Dr. Death? Or was he the Ripper? He was Dr. Death. The video game Pac-Man became popular in the 1980s. Its creator said the Pac-Man shape is based off of, was it the moon, the sun, or a pizza? That shape was based off of a pizza. In 1794, the Whiskey Rebellion began as an uprising against, was it the liquor tax, was it the closure of bars, or was it prohibition laws? It was an uprising against the liquor tax. What age was the youngest Roman Catholic Pope? Was he 31, 56, or 24? The youngest Roman Catholic Pope was all of 24 years old. What food was used as currency by the Mayans and the Aztecs? Did they trade in bananas, cacao beans, or chili peppers? They used cacao beans as currency. In 1956, VCRs were invented. What does VCR stand for? Video cassette recorder, virtual cassette record, or very crisp recorder? VCR stands for video cassette recorder. Where is the grasshopper cocktail said to have been created in 1918? Ontario, Canada, Stockholm, Sweden, or New Orleans, Louisiana? And that would be New Orleans, Louisiana. What was spelled out on the ground during the last scene of the television show MASH? SOS, thank you, or goodbye? BJ Honeycutt spelled out goodbye. When was the first Volkswagen bus designed? 1965, 1947, or 1930? The Volkswagen bus was designed in 1947. Surrealist artists depicted illogical images. They were inspired by figures such as philosopher Karl Marx, neurologist Sigmund Freud, or both of them. And that would be both of the above. Elvis Presley was born on January 8. What other iconic artists shared this birthday? Michael Jackson, David Bowie, or Ringo Starr? And that was David Bowie. During the Salem witch trials, over 200 people were accused of witchcraft. When was the last person acquitted? 1700, 1925, or 2022? The last one to be acquitted was 2022. After his basketball career, Michael Jordan played for the minor league affiliate of which Major League Baseball team? The New York Yankees, the Chicago White Sox, or the Chicago Cubs? Michael Jackson played for the Chicago White Sox minor league team. Go Barons. What film grossed only $21,245 opening weekend in 1975, but went on to be a success and have a large following? Was it Jaws, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, or The Godfather? It was The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Mount Rushmore shows the faces of 4 U.S. presidents. How tall are the sculptures? 60 feet or 18 meters, 20 feet or 6 meters, or 100 feet or 30 meters-ish. Well, they are 60 feet or 18 meters tall. How long did it take Mark Twain to write The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn? Did it take him a month? Did it take him 7 years? Or did it require all of 20 years to write Huckleberry Finn? Mark Twain took 7 years to write Huckleberry Finn. During the early 1600s, English physician William Harvey studied blood circulation, but he also believed in the bubonic plague, the exploration of a new world, or did he also believe in witches? He also believed in witches. In 1947, Christian Dior launched a collection that had rounded shoulders, cinched waist, and a full skirt. It was called the New Look, or the Dior Collection, or the Mid-Century Styles. That was called the New Look. 1920s Chicago-based mobster Al Capone's nickname was, did they call him Lucky, did they call him Smokin' Al, or did they call him Scarface? Al Capone's nickname was Scarface. Ancient civilizations made toys out of rocks, sticks, and they make them out of clay, gold, or crops. They made them out of clay. Taiwan went back to Chinese control on October 24th, 1945. What was this day called? Retrocession Day, Taiwan Chinese Alliance Day, or Intercession Day? That was called Retrocession Day. In 1905, an 11-year-old named Frank Epstein invented popsicles. What did he originally call them? Franksicles, Epsicles, or Icy Pops? He called them Epsicles. Makes sense. Why did the co-founder of Sony create the Walkman in 1979? To bring along on walks, to listen on long flights, or to use at sporting events? He invented it to listen to on long flights. Which popular side dish created in 1958 was called the San Francisco Treat? Rice-A-Roni, Jolly Green Giant Vegetables, or Jell-O salad? Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco Treat. MTV premiered in 1981. What was the first song MTV played on the broadcast? Endless Love by Lionel Richie, Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles, or Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes? The first video was Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles. The New York Times created a time capsule in 2000 and will be opened in the year 3000. Which was added to the capsule? A Barbie doll, Play-Doh, or a Chia Pet? They put a Chia Pet in there. The prehistoric Stonehenge was believed to be, what, do they think it was a burial monument, an art project, or an ancient sports field? Stonehenge was believed to be a burial monument. How many of the 50 U.S. states do not have their own national parks? 5 of them, 21 of them, or 36 states not having their own national park there? Of the 50 states, 21 do not have national parks. How many years after the formation of the Doors did frontman Jim Morrison die? 3 years, 6 years, or 10 years? Jim Morrison died 6 years after the formation of the Doors. The day that ancient ruler Julius Caesar was assassinated, the Ides of March, is associated with, is it bad luck, independence, or creativity? The Ides of March. That day is associated with bad luck. When the U.S. beat the Soviet Union to win the Olympic gold medal for hockey in 1980, the game was called the Underdog Game, the Miracle on Ice, or the Cold War Game? That was the Miracle on Ice. True or false? The movie Jaws from 1975 was a fictional story of shark attacks. False. It was based on the stories of shark hunter Frank Mundus. How many times were the World War II D-Day attacks postponed? No times, 2 times, or 4 times? They were postponed twice. The highest sold book has sold over 5 billion copies. What book is this? To Kill a Mockingbird, Cat in the Hat, or the Bible? The Bible has sold over 5 billion copies. Physicist Galileo Galilei studied acceleration. It is called the law of falling bodies, the law of Galileo, or the law of gravity. It's called the law of falling bodies. During the 1930s, Lisa Fonzagreves is considered the first supermodel. Which country is she from? Is she from the United States? Is she from Poland? Or is she from Finland? Lisa Fonzagreves. That would be Finland. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. Ted Kaczynski, known as the Unabomber, was he a chemist, a mathematician, or was he a bus driver? Ted Kaczynski was a mathematician. What was the name of the first patented video game in 1972? Was it Pac-Man? Was it Super Mario Brothers? Or was it Pong? The first patented video game was called Pong. What type of government does France have? Is it a democracy? Is it a semi-presidential form of government? Or is it authoritarian? France has a semi-presidential form of government. What food was created by a reverend in 1829 to suppress carnal desire? Was it licorice twists? Was it graham crackers? Or was it bubble gum? It was graham crackers. What company coined the term pager for the wireless communication device? Motorola, Sony, or the Bell Telephone Company? The pager was coined by Motorola. What was the name of the 1980s television series that followed two undercover detectives? Baywatch, Miami Vice, or Cops? That show was Miami Vice. Pet rocks were popular during the 1970s. They came in custom cardboard boxes with a leash, their own names, or straw bedding. Pet rocks came with straw bedding. When singer Madonna moved to New York, how much money did she have? Did she have $35, $1,000, or did she have just $5 to her name? When Madonna moved to New York, she had $35. What sport originated in Finland in the early 19th century? Squash, badminton, or wife carrying? It was wife carrying. Biologist Charles Darwin's theories caused problems with the... Did it cause problems with the Church of England? Did it cause problems with other biologists? Or both of the above? Charles Darwin got in hot water with both the church and biologists. All of the above. In 1964, the Museum of Natural History in New York was robbed of... Did someone steal the dinosaur bones, paintings, or jewels? The Museum of Natural History was robbed of jewels. What 1980s police show ended every episode with the line, "Hey, let's be careful out there"? Murder, She Wrote, America's Most Wanted, or Hill Street Blues? That show was Hill Street Blues. What was the shortest tenure of a U.S. president? Was it 32 days, 97 days, or 120 days? The shortest tenure of any U.S. president. That would be 32 days. What was the name of the fabric that fashion designer Thomas Burberry invented in 1879? Did he invent Gore-Tex, nylon, or gabardine? Thomas Burberry invented gabardine. What was the original job of a sommelier before they were considered wine experts? Chefs for royalty, they carried baggage for French royalty, or they were dog trainers for the wealthy? A sommelier. They carried baggage for French royalty. Charles Stuart Rolls, a co-founder of Rolls-Royce, was called by what nickname? Charlie Royce, Dirty Rolls, or Roland Royce? He was called Dirty Rolls. In which year was DNA evidence first used in criminal cases in both the US and UK? 1973, 1986, or 1998? And that started taking place in 1986. In 2009, a new shade of blue was discovered called moss blue. Before this, when was the last time a new shade of blue was found? 200 years ago, 100 years ago or 50 years ago? It had been 200 years before discovering a new shade of blue. In the 1940s in the US, Rosie the Riveter was a fictional cultural icon. What phrase was on her posters? We want you, women can work, or we can do it. That phrase was, we can do it. And question 100. Frasier is a spin-off of which 1980s sitcom? Cheers, Who's the Boss, or Growing Pains? Frasier is a spin-off of Cheers. And that's it. That's all I've got. Thank you for playing Quiz Time. Don't forget to put your score in the comments. Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you don't miss Quiz Time when it comes out. Thanks for playing again, and we will catch you in the next one.